Welcome all listeners. This is Dr. Anka Singh from USA. You're watching YouTube channel and it. When we finished last time, we were looking at John Stuart Mills and his attempt to reply to the critics of Bentham's utilitarianism. In his book Utilitarianism, Mill tries to show that critics to the contrary it is possible within utilitarian framework to distinguish between higher and lower pleasures, it is possible to make qualitative distinction, and we tested of that idea. The Simpsons in the Shakespeare excerpts and the results of our experiment seem to call in question Mill's distinctions, because a great many of you reported that you prefer the Simpsons but that you still consider Shakespeare to be the high for worthy of pleasures. Pleasures. That's the dilemma with which our experiment confronts Mill. What about Mill's attempt to account for especially weighty factor of individual rights and justice in chapter 5 of Utilitarianism? He wants to say that individual rights are worthy of special respect. In fact, he goes so far as to say that justice is the most sacred part and the most incomparably binding part of morality. But the same challenge could be put to this part of Mill's defense. Why is justice the chief part and the most binding part of our morality? Well, he says because in the long run, if we do justice and if we respect rights, society as a whole will be better off in the long run. Well, that one word for that. But if we have a case we are making an exception while creating individual rights with people, better off in the long run to use people, there is further objection that could be raised against Mill's case for justice and rights. Suppose the utilitarian calculus in the long run works out and he says it will, such that respecting people's rights is a way of making everything better off in the long run. Is that the right reason to respect people? The doctor goes in and gets the orders from the health division who came in for a checkup to save 5 lives. There would be adverse effects in the long run. Eventually people would learn about this and would stop going in for checkups. Is it the right reason? It's the only reason that you are the doctor and young thousands out of your health division that you think, well, if I use him in this way, in the long run, more lives will be lost, or is there an having to do with intrinsic respect for the person as an individual? And if that reason matters, and it's not so clear, and then you build utilitarianism and take account of it. Fully to examine this view, what is our objections to Mill's defense? We need to push further. We need to ask, in the case of higher or worthier planets, are there theories of the good life that can provide independent moral standards for the work of planets? If so, what do they look like? That's one question. In the case of justice and rights, if we are suspected that there is industry leaning of notion of human dignity or for persons that are not strictly speaking, which is vegetarian, we need to look to see whether there are some strong theories of rights that can explain Intuition, human will steers the intuition. They are the reason for respecting individuals and not using them. Goes beyond. Even utility is alone. Today we turn to one of the strong theory of right. Strong theory of right say individuals matter not just as instruments to be used for a logical purpose or for the sake of maximizing utility. Individuals are separate beings with separate lives, with your respect. And so it's a mistake. According to strong theory rights, it's a mistake. To think about justice or law by just adding up differences and values. The strong rights theory we turn today is libertarianism. Libertarianism take individual rights seriously. It's called libertarianism because it says that fundamental individual right is the right to liberty. It's Sunday because we are separate individual beings. We are not available to any use that the society might desire or devise precisely because we are individual, separate human beings. We have a fundamental right to liberty, and that means a right to choose freely, to live our lives as we please, provided we respect other people's right to do the same. That's a fundamental idea. Robert Nozick, one of the libertarian philosophers, believes. For this purpose puts it this way. Individuals have rights, so strong and far-reaching are these rights that they raise the question of what, if anything, the state may do. So what does libertarianism say about the role of government or of the state? Well, there are three things that most modern states do that on the libertarian theory of rights are illegitimate, are unjust. One of them is paternalistic legislation that's passing laws that protect people from themselves. Seat belt laws, helmet laws, or motorcycle. The libertarian, it may be a good thing if people wear seat belts, but that should be up to them. And the state, the government, has no business washing them hands. Wear seat belts. By law. It's caution. So no paternalistic legislation. Number one. Number two, no morals legislation. Many laws try to promote the worship of citizens or try to give expression to the moral values of the society as a whole. Libertarians say that's also a violation of their right to liberty. Take example of when the example of legislation offered in the same name of promoting morality traditionally have been laws that prevent sexual intimacy between gays and lesbians. The libertarian says nobody else's harm, nobody else's rights are violated. So the state should get all of the business entirely of trying to promote virtue or to enact moral legislation. And the third kind of law or abolition is ruled out on the libertarian philosophy is an taxation or the policy that serves the purpose of redistributing income or wealth from the rich to the poor. Redistribution is a kind of, if you think about it, says libertarianistic kind of portion. What it amounts to is that or the state or by the majority, but we are talking about democracy. From people who happen to be very well and earn a lot of money. Now, music and other libertarians allow them that can be a sake of that everybody needs. The national defense, the response, judicial system with false contacts and property rights. But that's it. Now I want to get your reactions to this thought. Teacher of libertarian view, I want to see who among you agree with that idea and who disagree and why. Just a bit concrete and to see what's said. Okay, consider the distribution of wealth in the United States. The United States is among the most egalitarian societies for the distribution of wealth. Of all the advances, advancement, this is now is this just or done this? Well, what is the libertarian say? The libertarian says, can't just from the facts. I just give you can't go well, it's just just. You can't know just by looking at a pattern or a distribution or a jet, whether it is just or unjust. You have to know how it came to be. You can't just look at the end state or the result. You have to look at two principles. The first he calls justice in acquisition or in initial holdings. And what that means simply is when people get the things they use to make their money fairly. So we need to know was there justice in the initial holdings? Did they steal the land or the victory or the goods that enabled them to make all that money? If not, if they are entitled to whatever it was that enabled them to gather the wealth, the first principle is met. The second principle is did the distribution arise? So the obligation of free consent. People buying and trading on the market, as you can see, the libertarian idea of justice corresponds to a free market conception of justice, provided people got what they used fairly, we don't steal it, and provided the distribution results from free choice of individuals buying and selling things. The distribution is just, and it's not it's unjust. So let's, in order to this idea for this discussion, take an actual law example. Who is the wealthiest person? In the United States, wealthiest person in the world. Yes, it is. You're right. Here he is. You'd be happy to. Now, what's his net idea? Nobody have any idea. That's a big number. During the Clinton years, remember, there was a controversy. Donors, three campaign contributors were invited to stay overnight in the Lincoln bedroom at the White House. I think if you contributed $25,000 or above, someone figured out. And the median contribution that got invited to stay night in the Lincoln bedroom. Bill Gates could afford to stay in the Lincoln bedroom every night for the next 66,000 years. Somebody else figured out. How much does he get paid on an hourly basis? And so they figured out since he began Microsoft. Suppose the work about 14 hours per day. A reasonable guess, and you calculate this is net wealth. It turned out that his rate of pay is over $150 per hour, not per minute. $150 more than $150 per second. which means that if on his way to the office, he noticed $100 bill on the street, it wouldn't be worth his time to stop and pick it up. Now, most of you would say, someone that wealthy, surely we can tax them to make the basic need. The people lack of education or lack enough to eat or lack decent housing. They need it more than he does. If you are elected vinegar, what do you do? What tax policy would you have? You distribution in national view because you will know being a good utilitarian and taking some small amount in this case regarding to not shape. Huge improvements in the lives and in the welfare of those in the bathroom. But remember, the libertarian change shares. We can't just add up and aggregate preferences and satisfactions that way. We have to respect person if we earn that money fairly, without violating anybody else's. In accordance with our two principles of justice in acquisition and investigation transfer, then it would be wrong, it would be a form of caution to take it away. Michael Jordan is not as wealthy as Bill Gates, but he did pretty well for himself. You want to see Michael Jordan? There he is. He did come along. In 1 year was $31 million. And then he made another $47 million in investments for Nick and other companies. So this was in 1 year 78 million will require him to pay, say a third of his earnings to the government, good causes like food, that's caution. That's unjust. But violence is rights. And that's right. Redistribution is wrong. Now, how many agree with the argument that redistribution for the sake of trying to help the poor is wrong?